What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. Today I've got something special for you. I've got Mr. Matt Dillon, a real-live eSports lawyer and fan of Magic the Gathering. He seems to have a wealth of knowledge on eSports in general. And I just got done with an interview with him, and I probably could have got into more technical things. I didn't know how much time he had. So if you want me to have him back on and we can talk about specific things of coverage that he sees or specific legal things as it pertains to esports players, Magic players, he said that he was happy to come back on, and so I will have him anytime he's available and isn't billing me by the hour. We talked about a very interesting topic, a topic that's been smoldering for about a year now. Magic as an esport. I've been on the record as someone who is very skeptical based on Twitch numbers, but he started to kind of convert me to his team a little bit with some advice that he shared. I think some of the barriers right now to Magic succeeding as an esport is that the game is complex, the game is hard to watch on coverage, and there's a huge barrier to entry, which leads to a lack of sponsorship for individuals, and that's why so many of us survive on Patreon and things like that. And corporate money is hard to get for the Pro Tour. But he raised up some interesting ideas on how to turn that around. And so I'd love to keep this conversation going on Magic as an esport. I'm not sure what the solution is. Is it some new fancy technology on the tables that can automatically display the cards that are shown using RFID tags or something like that? Is it a better platform for MTGO? Is Magic Digital next the gateway, the bridge, so to speak, that we need to get something more interesting to help get more people interested in watching online? I don't know what the solution is. Certainly, I remain skeptic on whether or not Magic will ever be an esport. But one thing's for sure, if it becomes successful, that just means a ton more people playing the game we love. And how could I not be happy about that? So I take Matt kind of through a bit of a meandering conversation. If you have questions directly for him, you can post them in the comments down below or tweet at him. I can't say for sure he'll answer everything, but he did seem interested in coming back on, so maybe we could do that. Our plans were to talk again after the next bit of coverage, but I'm interested. He's got an interesting job, and he's made an offer to esports Magic players to help them out, and I think that's pretty awesome. And so I hope you enjoy the interview, and I hope that you all engage in the comment section down below with your thoughts on why you do or don't watch Magic on coverage and what it might be able to do to garner more interest. Let's get into it. Okay, well, you've now watched me talk a little bit about my thoughts of Magic as an esport, although Mr. Matt Dillon doesn't know that because I completely forgot to tell him that I was going to record something and then lead into the interview. But here, nonetheless, is Matt, and I appreciate having you on.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So I came across you I was trudging through the sewer that is known as Reddit, and I noticed a esports lawyer had posted there and offering some feedback. I was very interested to talk to you, and I, of course, reached out, and you were kind enough to share your Friday afternoon with me, and hopefully I can pick your brain for maybe 10 or 15 minutes and get to letting you enjoy your weekend.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to take a break from doing some actual work, during the middle of a day on a Friday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, talking Magic and esports is way better.
So tell me, it's a pretty interesting job title you have. What is that? What kind of thing is that? Is that something you're dabbling in? You specialize in? Is that something that, I mean, it's a space that's probably growing, but what kind of things does an esports lawyer do?
Well, it is growing. There are literally dozens of us, and by that I mean like 4 or 5.
Right on. Get in at the ground
Yeah,
floor.
no, that's definitely what it is. Yeah, so I'm an esports lawyer, and I guess what that means is I'm an attorney that focuses on and specializes in esports. So I've been working in the space for 5 years now. Uh, you know, Coincidence enough, I got my first client off of the League of Legends subreddit. Just posting on there, as a fan and interacting. Somebody needed some help, and I said I'd do it for free, and that got the juices flowing on my end. Esports was something that when I went to law school from 2008 to 2011, was really starting to grow. That's when Justin TV became Twitch, and you had the first group of guys like Hotshot and Andy and Scara that really started to build a name for themselves, and it looked like esports could be a career. And I actually I made the move from Major League Baseball to esports then. So
Interesting. Yeah, it's a story that's kind of in, and obviously this is like when you talk to a musician and you're like, oh man, your music totally sounds like this other band, but like to me it's this era has created opportunities everywhere, both, and that includes a lot. Like me as a YouTuber, you're starting to see a lot of fair use legal disputes kind of creating a market for boring old everyday lawyers, and I think probably being in this space makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it does. And there's always the generic contractual disputes, and the need for attorneys to help players, teams, and businesses out with reviewing and preparing contracts. But then in esports, there's so many issues, from immigration to trademark and copyright law, protecting players' names and team names and logos. Tons of business now. Every day it seems there's a new major traditional sport team buying into the space. So yesterday, the Boston Bruins bought Splice, so now they're
Wow.
partnered up.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a place where like retired NBA players are parking money, or like people who are really wealthy, who have achieved a status of wealth, and doesn't back in the day, like retired football players would buy car dealerships, and now they're buying esports teams, and the amount of cash that gets injected in that way certainly seems like people would want some protections. And so, what are some? So you mentioned, I was actually you stole my first question, but I'll let this interview continue. But the what are some things that are unique to esports outside of contractual things? You had mentioned with passports. I feel like in your Reddit thread, I don't hang out there too long, but I feel like I read like passports and stuff like that. And
Yeah. So
what kind of stuff do you run into?
yeah, with esports, for a long time, it was really hard to get international players in the United States. Immigration did not consider esports to be a profession, to be legitimate enough to allow players to get visas. And it wasn't until Riot Games, who makes League of Legends, really petitioned immigration and spent a lot of money and time lobbying to really get esports recognized as a sport on the same level as Major League Baseball, the NFL, NBA. That things really started to turn around, and now it's, I'd say, relatively easy to get a visa for an esports player. But yeah, in the Reddit thread, there were definitely some comments about how judges are having a really tough time getting the visas and the okay to come to the United States to work events.
Is that because compensation's involved then? I would think in my I'm just a simpleton, I don't understand how immigration really works. I would think like players, I see these players on the pro tour, and they just played in Ireland last weekend. Like as a player, do you have to get some sort of special you're not just on vacation, is what I'm wondering. And because you're going there to earn money, is that different?
Right. So I would say for the most part, when you are traveling, you're probably going to need, some type of business visa, but it really is going to depend on each country. So if players are coming into the United States, I would say, yeah, generally you shouldn't. I'm not gonna not gonna tell you what
Yeah.
what to do. But yeah, you shouldn't try and come in on a tourist visa, though. That is the easiest to get. And if you say that you're not just here for vacation, they don't have a list, and they're not gonna know, what you're actually doing. But I would never
Well,
never tell anyone to do that.
for anybody who's watching, Matt is not on the clock. He's not offering legal advice. It's just two friends hanging out talking about Magic and eSports.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
But
everyone.
sorry to cut you off, but with the
No,
Pro
go
Tour
ahead.
in Australia, like 6 months ago now, I think. Right before that, the Australian immigration came back to WotC, and they said that all the pros needed a business visa. So that was a little hubbub, and there was a big dust up on Reddit and Twitter about that. And that's when I first like came in and was like, let me see if I can help out. And I was actually able to help out a few players get their Australian visas and just walk them through that process.
That's pretty awesome, because I remember reading a lot of the pros that had made statements like, well, basically I can't go now. I had planned on going. And pros are in a unique place, because I think unlike in League of Legends, I don't know, I don't watch that as much, but with Magic, there's always this like, well, it's called the promotional tour and not the pro tour, and Wizards has this issue with their judges, right? They were getting sued not that long ago. I don't know if that lawsuit's still going on, the way that judges are compensated and things like that, and but they're important part of the promotional piece for Wizards, and so it's in their best interest to
Yeah, players,
get
the
them
pros
there.
are crucial to the promotional aspect of this. People aren't going to watch me or you play on the pro
Right.
tour. They want to see LSV and Turtenwald and and all the rest of the pros play Magic.
And T Woo, of course, can't forget T Woo. Travis Wizard, yeah. Twitch chat will never forget T Woo. I was recently banned for cheering him on, so there's that. So you mentioned some. I'm a, how do I say, like, I'm definitely skeptic. But hopeful that Magic can kind of get their poop in a group in terms of their presentation. And I think this past Pro Tour weekend presentation was the best they'd ever done. Even if they banned me from chat, I will say publicly, I thought production wise, and it's still like ages behind what you see on like a Call of Duty or League of Legends or some other team esport.
Right.
But did you catch this
Yeah,
weekend's
I
Pro Tour
watched.
coverage? I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
good.
I watched most of it, and a lot of that was on VODs because I was not waking up that early to watch it. But yeah, it was definitely one of their best pro tours as far as the coverage itself. They've made some huge strides in the last year in terms of coverage, and I feel like each one they're building on past successes and learning from mistakes and really trying to level that up, and I think it shows.
So without tainting, or how do you say it, without not muddying the waters. Well, I don't want to lead. I want to get your pure, happy, optimistic look at Magic as an esport, because I think it has it's going to have some struggles, and but you have unique insight working with, and even being a fan of these other successful esports. And so I'm curious what you think Magic does well that would be interesting as an esport, and maybe some things that it needs to improve on.
Yeah, well, I think the game itself is one of the best games out there. I think that's a huge draw in and of itself. So it has huge potential. I think, the latest numbers are somewhere around 20 million players. And if we can get that 20 million online and watching, it would definitely be one of the biggest esports. What I think last year, Wizards came out and said that it was a top 5 esport. And I don't think it can't be a top 5 esport right now based on the numbers, but I think it has the potential to be that.
So here's something interesting. Well, I think it's interesting. No, it's I don't. That's not a good segue. But here's one thing here's one thing I'd be interested in getting your take on. So I've often thought, Magic, esport, great, love it. Okay, I love the idea. I love the idea of more people to play, because people at the local game store level, not necessarily the electronic level, need more people to play with. And I've thought that one of the biggest things holding it back is its digital interface, because, it isn't great. And they've invested some real money into hiring some people from Valve, I think, or someone from Microsoft. They spent some money
Well,
now
their
on
new
this
CEO.
upcoming platform. Right, yeah. And he hired an people, and he canned a couple of the old guard. And that, I was very happy to see that. I mean, I've been in Magic since Revised, 1993. So I've been around. I've seen the same people producing the same mediocre product for a very long time. So I'm talking digital.
Right.
You're right. Magic is the best game. What a very common saying is, Magic is the best game on the planet, run by one of the worst companies in the world. So so I look at something like Duels, or this potential Magic Next, or whatever they're calling it, Digital Next, as the first step to being an esport. But I'm curious, do you think it has to go digital to reach that critical mass, or can it stay kind of like these sweaty guys wearing jerseys, playing cards on the table?
Yeah, the digital platform definitely has to change to reach that esports status. You're not going to be able to compete with Hearthstone as the digital card game with the platform that exists currently. But I do agree that Magic Digital Next looks promising, and I'm really hopeful that that is the next step in Magic Online, and that'll lead to a better online experience that'll draw in more people.
Go ahead.
But with that, I think even though MTGO isn't ideal, I do think it works better than most people really say. Like, the bugs have gone way down in the last year. I know there's still issues, but it's playable.
I'd agree with that.
I would love to see pros be proactive about building their own brands, and taking the time to jump on Skype, or not so Skype, smart. Twitter, or Twitch. There we go.
I got you.
Yeah,
we totally agree on that. I went on a bit of an unpopular rant last year. I go on many of these. But by the way, Matt has not now nor ever endorsed anything I've ever said. He's just simply being kind and sharing his point of view. Do you remember all the hubbub about pay the pros last year, where Magic was like, no more $4,000 travel.
Oh, yeah.
They cut this quote unquote salary, which I came out and said I 100% agree with it, and that pros should be building their own brand and not relying on Wizards to pay their salary, because they're employees. They're not like individual competitors. Almost like a traveling circus then, where they compete, but they're not really competing because they're employees. That's just my ultra capitalist kind of jerk opinion. I know that's not the common one, but I really agree that one of the struggles is Magic players, and this is being overly general, but many Magic players don't have much of a personality. But that doesn't mean they can't be successful.
I would say that that's true of a ton of just esports pros in general.
That's probably
when
fair.
we do
fair.
sponsorships and have to shoot footage and stuff of some of these guys, we have to work hard to make some of these dudes look funny. Like right. And that that entails, bringing in, actors and comedians to liven up, a spot.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. You know, you're probably right. I wasn't being fair saying it was just Magic players because that's true. Um, it's one of the reasons that, for example, the Magic YouTube community isn't that big. It's because like you do have to work really hard at being entertaining and having kind of a shtick and having something unique to offer, but I don't think it's impossible. And really, and you look at the pros, there's maybe only a handful of them that anyone could recognize outside of the pro tour. You know, like they don't Twitch,
Yeah.
they don't have their own teams, they don't have their own products,
Well, honestly, like,
and
it's Kenji and it's Humph. Those are
that's
your
it.
two
Yeah,
big streamers who do it consistently. And otherwise, if neither of them are on, Magic maybe has 1,000 viewers. And
well, and it's kind of it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no problem. But yeah, Team Pantheon was making big strides this past week, getting Finkel and Duke and a few other guys on and streaming, and trying to build out their team, which I really liked seeing.
Yeah, I think that's really smart because one of the things I've always noticed is like nothing against like Newmont. I love the guy. We've met a few times. I'm not going to say he's my friend, but I'm going to say we've interacted favorably and we're good. Um, like he busts his ass, and he still gets like a 20th of. He's like the 50th most viewed Hearthstone streamer,
Yeah,
and that always is so depressing to me. Like the dude's a huge personality. He's great at the game, but how do you get over it being boring to watch is one of the things I've always struggled with. It must be boring to watch because these guys aren't boring on camera, but crappy Hearthstone streamers have, a 1,200 people watching them easily.
yeah. I tune in almost every day and have Kenji on in the background while I'm doing work. I,
Oh, right on. Oh, okay. Yeah. Shout out to
yeah,
Kenji.
but no.
Yeah, I think he's entertaining, but I wish I knew what the secret sauce was. What do you think it is? Do you think it's just maybe Magic isn't as big in the streaming world? Is it that it's not great to watch?
It's
How do you think they can improve
Well,
there?
there's definitely, it's not as entertaining as Hearthstone to watch. So you need some of the flash that Blizzard has added to card games to make it more exciting. And then I really think that a big issue is just like consistency and putting in the work. So if some of these guys, started taking out time, 2, 3 days a week and putting in, 4 to 6 hour sessions each time, I think that would really build, the Twitch audience for Magic.
Yeah, that's probably a fair. A lot of these guys do have pretty big social media followings. They don't stream. It's
Yeah.
like whenever LSV decides to stream, he has a pretty big
Yeah,
audience.
he's
And
really regular, but
go ahead.
he gets, 2, 3 thousand viewers, every time he jumps on.
Yeah, and that's and I think that's if more people could put that kind of effort. Now he's got a lot going on, coverage. He's got a kid. He's got whatever. But there's what I notice is with like Magic is complex. It's more complicated than Hearthstone, and I think it's going to be hard for us. Like I watch Reckful. I used to watch Reckful for a long time. He's an old time World of Warcraft streamer. Now he just streams Hearthstone. The guy's not a pro, but he's entertaining to watch, and so I watch him play Hearthstone sometimes in the background. And if Magic could get those kind of viewers, the casual viewers, like right now, I think the only people that watch Magic on Twitch, and this is based on nothing, it's just an assumption, are people that like freaking love Magic. So maybe a more flashy interface, something more, appealing to the
More
eye.
appealing and
Um,
more accessible, like easier to use. When I first got on MTGO, I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do, how to start a game. I had to go look that up. There wasn't any tutorial or anything to guide you into the process.
What do you think of duels? I thought duels was like a halfway there. Like if you could take the format and functionality and card catalog with the polish of duels, you'd have something pretty nice.
Duels is definitely a decent first step. I haven't spent the time on it that I probably should, but it's a huge improvement, interface wise and accessibility wise.
Yeah, that's why I love it, because it helps new people get into the game. Like the number one question people ask me is, how do I learn Magic? How do I get into Magic? And I'm always like totally confidently telling them, download Magic Duels. It's free.
Yeah.
It'll teach you how to play. But then like Magic Duels is not appealing to someone like you or I who knows how to play, because I want to play with the cards I want to play with. I don't want to play with like a limited pool of cards and have to earn my cards, and all this kind of stuff is not appealing to me.
Right.
So hopefully Digital Next, in my opinion, will be some version of Duels that has maybe standard only, like no modern. It'll be like standard. Here's my theory. It's not a conspiracy theory, but I think it's going to be something where it's like $5 drafts, $1 booster packs, like a much smaller entry fee, focus on limited, and maybe just standard, because I don't know how they could really bring in like vintage, like all this huge catalog of cards, and we're talking 20 plus years worth of cards. They can't even keep MTGO working, and I think they're just gonna make some hard decisions and say, well, you know what, it's always gonna have standard, and that's gonna be what it is.
But it would be a shame to lose, all the Eternal formats. That's a big draw. That's where Legacy and Vintage are played for the most part. So not having that would be tough.
I just had Randy Bueller on last week. We talked about that. Like Vintage now has to live online.
Yeah.
Because most people either can't afford or can't get the cards, or they can't find games, because if they can't afford or get the cards, nobody else can. So they have to live online.
But yeah, I'm 19 cards short of having the Vintage Holiday Cube in paper, and those 19 cards, are estimated to run me about $12,000.
Yeah. Well, you only need one kidney to live, Matt. I didn't know if you knew that, but many of us Magic players are walking around on one kidney, and that's just to play Modern. So I don't know. You're gonna have to make some tough decisions. But
yeah, I would. I would like to see Magic Digital Next, or hopefully they rename that to something else.
I hate that name too, right? It's so generic.
But hopefully,
like, don't call it Next.
I really want it to be freemium. I don't want to see that $10 buy-in to get your deck builder's toolkit.
Yeah, that is so. I 100% agree. It has to be freemium, and I don't even care if it has microtransactions. It has to be free, and I mean, let's face it, Magic at the local level can be seen as pay to win. So I don't really think it's a problem if like whatever this Magic Next product is similar to Hearthstone, in that you can earn booster packs. You can, look at what like Pokemon TCGO. If it's even like that, it's going to be a vast improvement. Give me these damn redeemable cards in my booster packs so I can play in real life and online. The point to me has always been, and I get why they don't do it, because they're worried about crashing the market on MTGO, but the reality is, I think that protectivist kind of mindset kept people off MTGO. And so you have to choose. Very few people can afford to do both, right?
Yeah.
Like, very few people can afford to play competitively, and even fewer people can afford to play both, and I think the idea is that you need to get your player base up, and Hearthstone proved it. And I'm convinced that Magic Puzzle Quest is making money hand over fist, and that is a free app that has microtransactions. Like, so there's money in it. Like the model has been proved by everyone else, and hopefully Wizards just takes that into account.
No, I'm sure that they've looked at all this, and we've definitely seen them make moves that seem to acknowledge all of that. So like the Twitch partnership, where they're streaming exclusively. I know a lot of people think that that's just they're now a partnered streamer, but it's way beyond that. Twitch is deeply involved in Magic now, and they're hiring a program manager for Magic the Gathering specifically. So,
I didn't know that. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's been on the the Twitch job page for a couple months now, and it came up right after the announcement. And
Okay.
beyond that, beyond putting in permanent resources to it, I know Twitch is going to be working with WotC on several GPs this year. The number
That would be
I heard
great.
was 12, but don't quote me on that.
This is some good information here. Yeah, I think that's very encouraging. I think coverage is definitely a thing, right? Like the World Series of Poker, I think Magic is trying to take a little bit from that because that was compelling, right?
Yeah.
It's probably kind of it's probably kind of dead now. I don't think people watch it the same as they used to. But for a while there, that was like must see TV, and I view that. I've always viewed that as a closer experience than like League of Legends. So like,
Yeah.
I've always fantasized like, could you imagine a world where you're watching the top 8 and there's like a hole card cam where like the top card of the player's deck, you could see it like you had on the hole card cam in like poker or blackjack or whatever. Not a hole card cam, but you know what I mean? Like you could see the top card of their deck, but they can't see it. Like
Right.
make it like embrace the analogness of the game.
Yeah.
But I think go
People
ahead.
have had some really great ideas as far as improving coverage and being able to see cards like RFID chips and QR codes and things to having a different table that's specifically for the game that it uploads on and is interactive, so you can zoom in on specific cards to read them and things like that.
That would be a huge improvement,
Yeah.
right? Because now you just kind of see these two dudes who are intensely, or girl, two players, not always two guys, two players who are like intense, flicking their cards like nonstop. I like that. That shit is not exciting for me to watch. So then I like want to see the board, but you can't see the board. You can't see really what's attacking and what's blocking. You really rely on the play-by-play, which I think they do a pretty good job with.
Yeah.
But being able to see it, I think, would be super next level. And even if they played with like different cards, but on the Pro Tour that had these chips in them, what difference would it make, right? Like, so what if they looked a little different, or they had their own sleeves and the sleeves had the tags in them, and you sleeve up their deck and there's a little bump on the sleeves, but whatever, or whatever, however it is, that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of really good ideas, that people, way smarter than me when it comes to like improving coverage, have thrown out there, and I'd love to see some of them implemented.
Well, I think I'm going to let you off the hook here because you've been extremely generous with your time, but I want to first go out by saying I'm going to have your Twitter handle on here. Matt, I don't want to speak for you, but I know that should people need any advice, you doesn't seem like you're a bad guy to reach out to.
Yeah.
How do you want people to get a hold of you?
I mean, this is a business, so you can find me at using my email address. So that's Matt MATT at GDANDB.com. Or
Oh God.
or if you're or
Domain
if you're wanting to hit me up on Twitter, you can find me at GDB esports law or
eSports
Yeah,
Law. I
there we
got you.
go.
Don't worry. I'll put it in the description for everyone, and I'll put it under your picture here. I want to part on a positive thing. What would you like to see happen for Magic coverage? What do you think the next logical step is for Magic to kind of continue to push the envelope in terms of becoming an esport?
I want to see a concentrated effort by pros to build their own brands and increase, viewership on Twitch and online. And I really think that'll lead to, non-endemic sponsorships. So you won't see the CFB, Star City Games sponsors, once it gets big enough, we can get the Red Bulls and the real non-endemic sponsorships that esports, I'll say traditional esports are benefiting from. There's a ton of money coming into esports right now, and
I think that's really smart. I think because then as people can see they can make a career of it, on Twitch and not have to be on a quote pro team. You can have pros all over the world, and they can. I remember talking to, and I won't keep you, but I will say this is a pretty interesting conversation I had with DX Racer when I bought this chair. I was like, hey, how come you guys don't sponsor? They reached out to me to see if I want to do a sponsorship deal, whatever. I'm like, how come you're reaching out to me? You know, I have, at the time, I'm like, I have 50, 75,000 subscribers. Why don't you talk to Magic?
Yeah.
You know? And they're like, it's prohibitive. Magic does not really, you know, I'm sure they probably have huge branding buys and no real direct sale. That's why you only see crummy Ultra Pro commercials on their coverage, right? But if people could go out and sponsor individuals, I think that's a really smart way to go at it. And then more and more people will stream, and then as you obviously already know, because I think that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah, if you're a pro, you know, that happens to be watching this, you know, and you need help with a contract, or you know, you got a sponsorship opportunity that comes along and you want somebody to review it, I will do that for free.
Oh, there we go. It's video evidence. Not I'll if Matt ever calls me to delete this video, I mean, I'm not going to say that I won't. But
all
it's
right.
going to cost a bit of money.
I'm gonna say I'll do it. I'll do the first one for free.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Just trying to protect you, man.
Yeah, I can't.
I know you're busy.
I do have to make some money eventually.
Yeah, you got to finish that cube, man. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on, and I thought you shared some really interesting stuff, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, I was happy to talk today, and you know, we definitely didn't get into a lot of like the esports nuts and bolts. So I'd love to come on again if you want to talk esports and Magic.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, absolutely happy to talk again very soon. So, let's do that. Let's do that next couple.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks,
thanks.
Matt. All right.